I stopped him today because it was pink. I missed last week. Feels good to be back. Been a while. 1 week off. I had a good stuff to be here. I just think we're both representing alma maters here. Then we kind of got on the school colors today. Wow.
I'm doing the score for black people.
This is unintentional. Oh, you think better than me. That's how I think. Are you going to HBCU? He just throwing his nose up at me. It's crazy. You could have sent me there. All right. Welcome, everybody. Above Average Black Man, we're excited for tonight's episode. I think this is going to be a quite entertaining topic. Yours truly, Chris Pender Jr., here as always to empower, inspire, and uplift the community. I'm hoping we do so tonight in our conversation. Next up, Dad.
Chris Pender Sr., always the voice of reason. Keeping some semblance of sanity on this show.
Giving ourselves names now, okay. Dev,
just here to say like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us. You know, we've been getting some traction and some views on the video. Definitely want to say thank you for that, but we would like some more. Give us some topics. We want to hear from the people.
Yep, continue to grow as we have been week by week, show by show. So, Darryl, you ready to present tonight's topic?
Yeah, man, we're a little late, but I got to rep the HBCU. I got my Lincoln University hoodie on, got my master's from there, so I had to make sure I had to get into holiday season.
I'm not embarrassed to say Mansfield University, not an HBCU, but still held it down for the people that look like me out there.
Yeah.
It wasn't many, but hey.
Yeah. Did you know they changed the name of the school?
I know.
Interesting.
I mean, Nicole found out the hard way. He was trying to get a job, and then the name changed, and they think your school don't exist. It's really? The Commonwealth of Mansfield, something like that.
Somebody was telling me today. But anyway, great topic today. As usual, I did my research. I talked to people. This research is a little expansive because I actually talked to some high schoolers.
I lived this research.
And I talked to some adults.
I'm interested to know people's answers.
It's interesting. So the topic is, and you don't have to be just 5, but what are the 5 top reasons why relationships are ruined? You know, why people break up, however, people want to kind of differentiate and what it means.
I mean, because you know what? And even with the top 5 reasons or things that they're ruined, I mean, it can be so many things. It can be outside influences or like things that.
But you just took your top 5. I'm not saying it's only 5.
I'm just saying, I'm interested to know some people's answers. Like, do you want to start with me?
Well, I'll start with the adults first. 3 populations actually, but I'll start with the. I talked to some females, and sex was like they were like, look, man, and which I was surprised.
Yeah.
No, but I was surprised. That's usually a male answer. I was surprised that only a female gave me that answer. Even the high schools didn't give me that answer.
Times are changing.
But no, I thought a high school at that age, that's important to them.
In high school too, that's wild.
But they didn't. This was an adult who kind of gave me this answer. She was like, hey, well, she didn't say sex, whether you're sexually compatible. Some of the top, if I had to take into a poll the top 5 answers, which I thought was ironic, it was outside influences. And that ranged from other people, or one of the higher scores in that area I got was people just doing things that the other person not interested in. A lot of high schools are talking about like sports. Maybe they focus on trying to pursue something in high school.
The person don't understand it.
Yeah. And from a male perspective, it was kind of the same thing. I'm chasing this dream, and my counterpart is not chasing the dream.
I mean, he's trying to be a rapper,
so she just doesn't get it. No, they were talking about entrepreneurship, whatever. They counterpart just didn't get it, and not only did they just not get it, they were kind of making it difficult. Like somebody said, yeah, well, you think they're going to support you, not beat you down. So it was funny. And then the other outside influence was, it was just people looking in other directions at other people, people being persuaded by other people. So it was interesting. That was one. One answer I got from males that I thought was extremely interesting was, And none of the females gave me this. Well, one female did give me the answer. They said that one of the biggest reasons, that they think it happens a lot is because they hear from their friends is just trying to communicate.
Yeah.
Just trying to have a healthy, transparent, level of communication. And it's funny because I looked at the video. Somebody sent me a video. I think I sent it to you. And the guy goes on there on this panel discussion. So the guy starts explaining to somebody. A lady asked the guy, well, why guys don't talk? So he said, it's not that guys don't talk. He said, it's because when we do talk, y'all don't really listen. He says, when we do talk, what happens is, he says, y'all turn around and it becomes about you. I'll pour my heart out to you before it's over. It becomes about you. And then, or it becomes about what you think I'm saying. So then the lady on the panel next to him says, no, let me, can I say something? Is it about you trying to say this? He said, no, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Not what you're trying to interpret.
So I thought it was funny when he said that, but that's a big deal when guys feel like they're not being heard.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could go equally both ways. And a lot of what you heard, I would say, certainly can be true. I mean, those are some of the things that I thought of, probably just the communication. And that can either be the lack of actually speaking or just the lack of being able to listen. I think that's a big part. People come into it in some selfishness. That's one thing. And this is kind of, again, just in my past experience, encountering some of those things where it's just really me. Like, and not even aware a lot of times that you could just be ignoring your partner's needs or making sure that things are good with them.
For acknowledging they have needs.
Acknowledging even have needs, yeah. So I think, we've mentioned and talked about that on the show before, where it's honestly probably a lot of men that struggle with that sometimes, where they just feel like not being heard. So I, again, think it's a good combination of those outside influences. I'm surprised not to hear friends or family. Certainly social media is one of them too.
Yeah, social media was one.
Social media is definitely an outside influence that I think kind of creeps in and is even more so now because there's a lot of bad advice out there. Along with, there's some good people dropping knowledge, but more than not, you're just kind of hearing people say foolish things.
But that would be an outside influence. I mean, Friends came up, but Friends was kind of like a sidebar, and I think the reason why was kind of a sidebar answer. Because nobody wanted to admit that their friends have influence over.
So it's
I think that's what it was.
It's a lack of accountability, though, too.
But they didn't want to say that what my friends say mattered. Everybody was kind of skirting around that one.
But it really does because, again, just like you hear all the times amongst or in friend groups, how they talk about people of the opposite sex. You sometimes how you even talk about it is framed off the conversations that you are having with a particular person. So it's for people to kind of, not acknowledge that you're friends. I mean, they probably do, but they don't want to admit to it, like you said.
Yeah. I think there's a huge peer pressure thing, to piggyback up with the friends thing. You may see a bunch of your friends talking to a bunch of different women, or they might be necessarily yo, you should get on that, even though you might have a good one at home. So now it kind of creeps in your head, and then some people take action.
Yeah. One word, stupid. Anyway, because I get that, and we all human. And it's funny because part of our conversation led to this when I was talking to some young guys, but at some point you gotta, what's the risk? And to me, it's one thing if you make a mistake on your own, it's still wrong, but at least you did. But to make a mistake because somebody talked you into it, that's the worst mistake to make, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy because now somebody else is putting you in a position where you're going to screw your life up. I mean, it's bad no matter who does it, but at least if you do it, you can own up to it. That Chris says in accountability, but to say, I did this because of my boy, because of my girl. But I just think it's ironic because money wasn't high on it. I thought money was going to be high. I thought money was going to be high, and it wasn't.
It's the types of people that you're asking.
I think it depends the age group. I feel like people in my age group, I feel like money would matter.
But I thought high schoolers would say that. I thought
no money.
No, that's why. That's why it's important though, because they would see you reading them. You're reading them wrong because they're the ones. They're the ones who talk about they want to get these prenups and
they don't even understand money.
They think but some of they don't. They understand. Yeah, right.
Don't say they hear from other
but they also think they're going to come into a lot of money, regardless. I think they're going to get it, and they think money is everything. So I was surprised with them; they weren't going to say it because money. Any other conversation, money comes up. But I was surprised they didn't say it because they talk about how they want to be able to spend money on their moms or their girl, whatever. I was surprised that wasn't going to be, because they'll tell you in a heartbeat, I got to make sure she ain't trying to get my money. And I think like you think, well, you don't have any money. But I was surprised. Even with some of the young ladies, I was surprised because these some of the ones who responded to our last one, the poll about would you date a guy that was not, a standard of certain things. So it was interesting that money didn't come up, in that topic. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely feel like that's something that maybe older people look at as a issue or problem, and something that potentially ruins it, especially if you're married or like going towards that. And to Devin's point, I think kids saying that they just repeating nonsense that they've heard from other people.
No, I think for some, but some of them do. No, but some of them do. They think they're gonna make it.
Can't read it right.
They think they're gonna make. They think they're gonna become. Like some of them are decent. They're not that good. They're decent in basketball, or they think they're gonna make it. And money is an issue with them because they see what it does. They see how money kind of gets people going crazy and doing stupid things. So, I do some of them repeat it, but a lot of them, they do. They think they're going to come up with some money. They think and they want to protect it. So I was surprised they didn't say money because they like to dress, they like to do things. But even with them, I was surprised that some of the females didn't say money because a lot of people do say money is a big deal.
Because they're speaking from now, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's not.
But it don't go away. It is an issue for them now.
Because these kids now, they ain't think that, I don't know. Like, when you young and in love, that's the last thing they think about. They happy to be going out to the mall.
To be with somebody.
But see, you misreading the population, man. Because some, just like the thing about where girls like to go. Man, all these kids ain't trying to go. It's different, man.
That's me and Devin group. But
some of these high school girls, which is why they end up dating older guys, because they ain't settling for the mall anymore. They not settling for Red Lobster. They want to go, regardless of whether I agree or disagree.
Yeah,
I did disagree, and that's why a lot of older guys end up with these younger girls. Yeah, because they can introduce them to stuff. They can take them. It's
a whole other subject of like who's parents letting these dudes go out with these girls.
Oh man, you'd be surprised. But it goes back to, it goes back to, what are things that ruin a relationship? And money was one I was surprised. Cheating was one I didn't hear it as much, but that was definitely one. But I said a big one was either around communication. Somebody's not understanding my goals. I got these goals, and somebody said something to you, which I totally agree with. A lot of times, it happens because who you end up with is not who you marry. What I mean by that, because you may be two immature people when you get married. And then one of you mature faster than the other one. So now the other one is still stuck in the early stages, and now you're trying to do things that creates problems for a lot of relationships, man. Like maybe all of a sudden you get the bug to be an entrepreneur, and that person says they just want to keep doing a 9 to 5 or keep that good job, keep the benefits, what we were talking about last night, people don't see what you see. Now imagine if you're in a relationship with somebody and you got this dream and you like a biscuit away of becoming true. And this person's like, that's a little risky. People struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, like I would say, a relationship ruiner. But then again, I think, I don't know, part of the opposite side of that is like kind of going into a relationship, even knowing and understanding that your partner is going to change. You ain't got to support every idea. But I think in a way, like you certainly could be, if it's rooted in something and there's like some potential there, then like you should be able to be like, all right, we can grow and maneuver and navigate.
But I disagree. First of all, you'd be surprised how people don't anticipate change. Even when I sit down with,
I'm not saying it happens or it's the norm. I'm just
saying they don't anticipate change. Like, people do change, but people for some reason people don't anticipate. You hear it all the time. You hear Hollywood people say that. Well, that's not who I fell in love with. That's like one of the reasons people get divorced now because irreconcilable differences. Oh, this is not the person I married, because people don't plan for change. Because if you don't have a vision, if you don't see anything, you don't anticipate your partner. Because we first met, we both were doing the same things, doing the same stuff. A lot of people don't anticipate that all of a sudden Devin and Chris is going to get a vision. They're going to get a hunger, a thirst to do something to succeed. And for some people, that's a problem. For some people, like they feel like you leave them behind or you change, you get new on them. Some people feel like I've talked to people and they felt like, oh, well, now Devin's going to meet another girl because I'm not doing what he's doing. And so, I mean, there's so many issues that people don't take into effect when they get married or when they get into relationships because people don't ask those questions anymore. People, they like each other, they start dating, they get serious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think to the perspective of putting thought into what things ruin a relationship. Like, always people are just talking about the things that they want. It's like, all right, they know what they want, but they don't know necessarily what's entailed pursuing those things or even maintaining a lot of those things. And again, probably more conversation need to be had like this, where it's like, all right, like think of the ways in which relationships can go wrong, and then maybe that helps you to think about the right things to do to avoid those situations.
Well, but I think you when you first meet somebody, and not first meet, but when you first figure out that you're getting into a serious relationship with somebody, you need, and I tell you this, you need to think about what a deal breaker is. You need to think about that. You don't wait until, because the assumption is that somebody's going to change for you, and that's a bad assumption. And 9 out of 10 times, if somebody changes for you, it's not a permanent change. And then the first time something happened, they go back to what they know, and why only change because you wanted me to change? So that's like dangerous territory.
Yeah,
that's dangerous territory. I think people should want to change, and I think we just live, regardless of the generation. I think it still happens today. Listen to you probably more. That people who thinks about the future, man. I'm in love now. That's what people, they hooked on that thing, man. They hooked on the emotion. One, they don't understand love. Love is just as much a decision as it is an emotion. Most people just purely look at love through an emotion.
Yeah.
How I feel.
I mean, but then that also kind of shows with how relationships kind of, you see them dwindle out after a while, because it's just a feeling that people think that they have, and then very easily, like even these things that we're talking about, we feel like may ruin a relationship. Not necessarily the case all the time if you're kind of rooted or grounded in some type of morals and values, because there's people who, like you said, they may not know something, but they want to change, and like once
but the topic of the show is what ruins a relationship.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I'm there got to be a healthy balance or side to it too, though. Like the ruining it part can't just be it. Like,
but that's the topic.
Yeah, like
that's the topic.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
like,
everything. I get it, because I believe that most things can be discussed and worked out if they're two reasonable people. But this goes back to what you said before. If I'm selfish, what am I working out? If I'm selfish, I don't see your side. I just see how's it going to benefit me or how's it going to hurt me. That's what selfishness is in a relationship. It's like, hey, look, I'm in this relationship, but guess what? It's all about me. Just make me happy. I don't care if you're happy or not. You'll get over it.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I think, again, I've always tried to play devil's advocate. That's why it's on top of playing the ruining part. Mm-hmm. I do think some of these things aren't necessarily end all be all when we say ruin. Like, ruin, yeah, maybe cheating, and in the manner of probably how that's done. We didn't necessarily mention finance, but definitely think that could be an offense that maybe people can't bounce back from.
Dating apps.
Dating apps.
Dating apps. I feel like
but I think
feeling like you always got the constant swipe. It's always something.
It's always something better.
But something's
Instagram, TikTok, boom.
What may be negotiable for you is not negotiable for everyone. Like, to me, I always say, people say money is the number one reason. I think it's the decision making around money that contributes to it. I think if there's a lack of money, that's something that can be worked out if you both really want to fix it. To leave just because of money, I question how sincere you are in a relationship. Because, people who really want money and earnestly have a work and a desire, they figure out how to get it. And to me, that's kind of the best thing about a relationship, is when you're working on something together or somebody supporting what you're trying to do. And they don't have to agree with you. But you know what? You got a vision. Hey, that ain't my thing, but I'm going to support it. I think that's important in a healthy relationship. I think everybody is not always going to agree on the same thing and see the same thing. For instance, your mom, that side of the family, they're 9-to-5ers. They never thought about working for somebody else. I'm going to get a job, I'm going to work this job, work it to the best of my ability, and I'm okay with that. And that's okay. I'm different. I'm like, hey, that's cool, dude, but I also want to control my destiny as much as I can. I also want to put myself in a position, man, where I can make, like you, I can make decisions about myself. Now, so if you hook up with somebody who just never sees that, that's a problem. And they don't have to agree with you, but they need to support you. They need to say, you know what, Chris, that's a vision I can get behind. I need the comfort of my job. I'm not gonna quit my job, but I'm willing to, do your thing. Now, to your point, unless you're doing something that's crippling them, I see you going out there doing stupid stuff, but good sound decisions because people grow. I'm nowhere the person I was when I got married, 39 years ago. I grew a lot. There were some trials and tribulations, some things I had to go through, things I figured out, to where I'm now. I'm still growing. But that's why I try to bring people along with me. I try to encourage people. I try to coach people, so they don't make the same mistakes. But too many times people get into a relationship, especially I'll sit down with a couple and one of them is complaining, because they got this dream that they gave up on because of the other one. And now it's haunting them, like, man, I wish I would have did this. I never gave it a shot. They got regrets.
It's like, whose fault is that?
They got regrets. But some people get into relationship.
You for not fighting for your dream?
Well, some people get in a relationship and they believe that, hey, that we got to kind of, everything is 50-50, that we got to work this out. And some people believe that we got to agree on everything that takes place. Then some people say, well, okay, I don't see what you see, but it's not hurting us. I'm going to let you pursue your dream.
That might be a ruiner right there.
But everybody doesn't do that, though. Some people have, unless something happens to show us something different, most of us are products of our environment. And unless something happens to say, okay,
I say that
I'm going to see something different, it's hard for somebody who's never had an entrepreneur spirit, never done anything, always kind of kept things modest, to all of a sudden say, man, we go into business, like the idea we were talking about, the two ideas we were talking about last night.
Yeah.
Some people look at you like you got a good job, man.
Yeah.
You got a good job, you got a good benefits, man. I don't understand. I hear that quite often.
I mean, honestly, my mother.
Right.
No, seriously.
But that's what I was saying seriously about people don't see what you see, because it's the same thing people says, man, you hustling like that. Like I was talking to a group of guys and I'm taking off the week between Christmas and New Year's. I'm shutting everything down. I'm doing nothing. The only thing I'm doing is I'm trying to take McKinsey to get them to go to this tennis camp. But I'm doing nothing. And people, but you know what? I'm doing it because I need to regroup for next year.
I'm grinding.
I need to, because I know when next year come back, I gotta be, when January roll around, I gotta be sharp. I gotta be ready to go. So I do that. But I don't just give up because I got a nice house, man. I live in a nice neighborhood, man. My kids okay. I got a little bit of cheddar in the bank. No, it's just, I can rest when I die. But some people have this thing, well, as long as I have enough, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think it's like a mentality of complacency out there for a lot of people. And
mediocrity,
yeah, for sure. But to your point, some people don't know that they just achieve and do average or regular things, or they don't even feel like they need to push or pursue past that. But just kind of to the topic of ruining relationships, I think we always bring this up, Devin and I, just because we live in the era of social media. I think that has drastically kind of impacted or changed people's perspective. Again, that mentality or mindset of thinking that there's more out there because you have access to all of this stuff that's in your hand. You can keep scrolling pretty much all day. And then on top of that as well, just the information that you get on there from people, it's not necessarily, I would say, beneficial. Like you hear women say, or people too, like, oh, it's more options out there. Like you can move on, like get the next one. And then when you kind of had that mentality, you even probably get in a relationship, you still carrying that. You know what I mean? Like you still have that mindset or thought process of.
Because when I was growing up, they used to say, man, women like a bus. You get off one, everyone comes along every so minutes. So I do agree, people had that philosophy, but it's not.
Social media made that like a reality.
Yeah, but is it really? Because you don't. Yeah, but the next bus is not always a better bus.
Yeah, not everybody knows that. I think that's
not always a better bus.
But that goes into what we're saying about ruining relationships, because I don't think people are thinking about what's necessarily best. They're thinking about what's available. Like, you know what I mean? The idea of having options overweighs the idea of quality. And like some people just, I don't know, don't even think about it.
I agree with you, but to me, if it's not quality and it's not available, to me, because it's not in my realm, I'm not interested. It's like if I'm going to buy a new car and I say I want just the standard in my car, I don't care if you got 50 cars on it that's below what I want. That's not what I came to get. That's not even what I'm considering. And I I agree with what you're saying, but I think people need to rethink their process, because if you're talking about being especially a committed relationship, it's a lot of stuff that comes with that.
Yeah.
And you need to know what a deal, and I think that's the problem. Most people don't stop to see what a deal breaker is. You need to know what's a deal breaker. You need to know what you can handle and what you can't handle.
I mean, but that's part of the problem with having options. It's like, it's maybe too many things
that you really have options.
It's simple deal breakers nowadays. It's like, oh my goodness, they snore too loud. Oh my goodness, I can't believe.
It was funny because somebody said that jokingly.
Yeah,
somebody said that they jokingly.
But that's a thing, though. It's like, man, I don't like how they sleep. I don't know if I can take this the rest of my life. Like, or this person, like they laugh too loud. Like I don't like they laugh. It's too high pitched. I saw a story online where this girl stopped dating this guy because all he did was say, like, oh, sometimes you can be a little loud, and it's weird that you say hi to every dog that we pass on the street. I think that is a little weird. Like, but she took offense to that and was like, oh, if you can't accept me being loud and da-da-da-da, it's like, one, wasn't anybody trying to reject you. I was just saying your tone and your pitch is a little.
But what?
Then it's that idea. It's like, you know what? If you can't accept this or say that, then like you don't deserve to have me. Like,
but that was a good thing for him then.
Yeah.
Because it may hurt, but you don't want to get into a relationship where you just feel like I got to take somebody's stuff. I mean, you don't have to be loud, and to me, that's not negotiable. You don't have to, and to me, if somebody gets upset, who want to be somewhere with somebody that's loud all the time? Nobody.
Yeah, but again, I think from the perspective of like just that female, like potentially ruining a relationship and opportunity, just because you can't take what somebody is information that somebody's giving you, like their perspective on things.
But to me, if that's a deal breaker with him, he needs to say that. Not wait till they get married or wait till they serious.
No, they went to that.
No, I'm just saying you should. But so I mean, it may sting a little bit, but I would rather get it out the way. Like me, I couldn't be with somebody, man, eating food flying out of their mouth, man. That would just drive me crazy. That would never. I could never ever. Even when I was dating, that's something I just couldn't tolerate, man. I don't care what you look like. If you eating and food flying all over the place, and I got to like kind of shield my food because I don't want your food in my food.
I mean, but that probably would be a ruiner. That you're not even making it if we're doing all that. First date.
But that's a deal breaker. I'm just saying. But people don't discuss that. And part of it is because people don't date anymore. They don't have those kind of conversations. Nobody talks about, hey, where you see yourself in 5 years. Heck, people ain't talking about, people get married and fight over how many kids when they want to have. You ain't discussed that before you got married? I just think that part of the courting
that's
deal,
the communication part. It's a lack of communication there.
And I will also say a lot of these podcasts and radio shows have severely damaged relationships.
Yeah, we be trying for it.
It's just red pill content. Like seem like they're always bashing women or seem like women only want this one thing from men. You got to get this out of a man. You got to do this to a man to get what you want. I feel like it's severely destroyed the idea of what a relationship is supposed to look like.
And I agree with you 250%. I do. I'm not disagreeing at all. I do agree with you. But also speaks to the mentality of that individual. Because if I'm dating somebody and you're telling me what your consistent reference point in social media, that's a problem. That's a problem. I get what you're saying, though. But for me,
that would be a problem. Earlier, like people are a product of their environment.
Yeah.
I think a lot more now than ever, like people's environments it's not just their block or their neighborhood.
Oh no, it's universal. Almost.
It's online and like and I think another thing like the algorithm and sometimes what you feed on there is gonna and the reality thing. What you feed breathes life. That's literally what happens on social media. Like once you kind of start to dive into a certain type of content, like you're watching it, you're liking it, it's just going to start putting more and more of that into your news feed. Yeah. So like to Devin's point, where it's probably men and women on both sides, you getting content that's saying this about, the opposite sex. And that's the reality, honestly, for them. Like that's what you're thinking. That's what you're taking in. And it's really kind of hard, I would say, for people to get out of. It really is definitely something that I think it's slowly but surely climbing up to the top of the list of things that are ruining people's relationships. Because, like, what's your name? Tia Mowry. Like, she's an example to me. One of the twins, sister, like how she divorced her husband. You know, all of the things that we talking about, how like, oh, it's better out there, and like you outgrown this person, that person. You 40-something years old. Now she out there deciding like, oh, it's not what it used to be, and now trying to work things out with your husband. Like, I think again, probably influenced by what you see online, where it's just a lot of women saying, you know, you could do better, or it's more out there, and like, yeah, it's okay to just say you grew apart and like go do you. That's good for you. But instead of actually like the other side of it, working things out. But I think nobody says that or promotes that as much.
But the contributing factor to that is that is how you handle the relationship you're in. And if I'm talking to somebody and somebody says, man, I'm really struggling in my relationship and blah, 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 the first thing I say is, okay, what are you doing? You know, don't tell me about what she's not doing. What are you doing? Because, for instance, if you say you've
easy to look out first.
If you say you've outgrown somebody, based on what? You know, I mean, what is that based on? How much time do you spend talking to somebody? Somebody told me this when you guys were younger. They said, look, hey, I'm going to give you this key to a successful marriage in your later years.
Don't listen to nobody.
No, this is date your wife now. He says, because what happens is y'all get so caught up in talking about kids. When they leave, you have nothing else to talk about. He said that happens to so many people, and all of a sudden they don't know each other because now it's no more the baby. And that's so true.
the baby.
And that's so true because now all of a sudden the baby's grown. The baby's gone. So now all of a sudden you got to communicate. So I think part of that is people, what are you doing during your relationship? Are you still dating each other? How are you treating each other? Are you taking each other for granted? You know, are you investing your time in it? It's easy to say the grass is green on the other side, but what are you doing to water the grass where you are?
Yeah.
And I asked you that same question. What are you doing to water the grass where you are? You out here talking about my wife.
Repeated it. I ain't even had to tell you to say
my wife don't pay me any attention. Okay, are you paying her attention?
Or are you paying her attention, or what are you doing to deserve that attention?
Yeah. But see, these are the things. So when I hear people say that, but I think that's why they become deal breakers because people don't talk, and communication is so many things, or they just talk to hear themselves talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's somebody in my group. He's the perfect example. You know, I'll text him good morning, and I'll get some deep rebuttal back. Like, dude, I'm not arguing. We just, it's just, and there's people like that. And no matter what you do, they never do a self-assessment. 3 times a year I do it. Beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. I sit down where I look at the goals I set for the year, where I'm at, the things I want to improve myself. I look at that. If there's an area where me and your mom are kind of struggling, what am I doing? I don't write and say, oh, she not doing this, she not doing that. What am I doing? Because more often than not, what I found, not 100% of the time, so guys don't freak out. More often than not, what I found when I'm counseling people, if you treat your wife, the way you should treat her, regardless of what she's doing, most of the time they come around. There's exceptions to every rule. Most of the time they'll come around and be the woman you want them to be. Well, you got to be the dude you're supposed to be first. And that's the part that people miss.
Equally both ways. Like, you need to be the man or woman that your partner needs you to be.
That's the part. Well, no, but I mean, as far as a lot of times women are a little resistant. Yeah, and guys like, yeah, they're supposed to be this. But how you treating her?
Yeah.
Are you doing the things you're supposed to do to make her want to be that woman? And I'm not saying that works 100% of the times, but more times than not, that's the issue. Because I'll talk to guys, and guys will come back to me like 6 months later, so you know what, you're right. I started doing stuff, and and I didn't expect anything in return. Like, I get up every morning, I make breakfast for your mom every morning. Make sure I make breakfast. So somebody else is a beneficiary of that now, but every morning I do. I get it. That's what I do, except Saturday and Sunday. And we go out. We go out. I treat her like that. I make sure I tell I love her every day. I make sure I tell she's beautiful every day. I make sure I invest in her, and in return, I get a treatment back. Now, is it exactly like I wanted to be? I don't think anybody is. Because we grow and we change. And for 39 years, we have grown. We have changed. We are different. But I think you got to figure out, what's worth fighting for, to your point. Because you brought this up earlier. Everything is not just about ruining a relationship. But the problem is most people don't know what's worth fighting for. And you gave a perfect example I didn't know about to your mark. Like, okay, you don't do because you thought the grass was greener. And now you realize it's not. But, are you paying attention?
That happens a lot more than not now. I feel like,
I agree.
Like where people just think that the grass is greener on the other side, and like, they less than willing to work and like, get through a hard time or situation.
But if we go back to
the idea of boredom and this person needs to make me happy, I'm not happy.
But see, you know what? That's another mistake that people make in relationship. Because I had to learn the same thing. There's nobody's job to make you happy, man. Where do you get that nonsense from? I mean, they can contribute to your happiness, but you can figure out how to make yourself happy.
That's like
that's
at an all-time high.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but to me, that's giving somebody power. If I give you the power that you got to make me happy, you and I don't like people having control over me. Yeah. So to me, why would you say you can contribute to me being happy?
You want to know another thing I just wanted to throw into the ring of like what's ruining relationships, and you kind of mentioned it and hinted towards it, is like the lack of ability to have like some type of just like self-reflection in a way, or just be open to somebody giving you feedback. And like this is bigger than just relationships. This is specific probably to something that went with me today. Like it's just
without feeling attacked.
Yeah, like people just like get defensive all the time now. Like instead of looking at it as like, wow, this person is telling me this from a place of they care. It's like, oh my goodness, like you attacking me, like you're putting me down, like or I didn't do that. I don't do that. Just immediately getting defensive and not being able to be like, you know what? I did that. This person I'm with is telling me this from a place of they care, and it's versus like
maybe they might have a point. Like you got to see the other person's point of view of like,
that
all right,
too.
well,
I want to apologize. We got 7 messages and I can't get them to open. So apparently they're listening. But go ahead.
But no, like it's I think that is part of it today too. Forgot I lost track of where I was at though. What was you about to say?
But I think. And if you look at all the things we talked about, I think the common denominator is ourselves.
Yes.
I think you got to start with yourself.
Yes.
For instance, when I talk to people and people say, well, okay, man, it's funny joke. Somebody said today that COVID caused a lot of issues because they were joking. They said, yeah, like their dad didn't like the way her mom opened her Splendor and she would open it a certain way and leave the packet on the counter. Didn't bother when he was going to work every day. But now he was home.
But to see it?
Yeah, it was driving him crazy. So it's little stuff like that.
You going to leave that Splendor there?
It's little stuff like that. But it is. You be like, and so I think, but it's small stuff like that people should not be getting divorced and separate. They didn't, but I'm just saying. It's small stuff like that that's negotiable on both parts. Sweetheart, put your thing in the trash. You know what? Dude, it ain't that big a deal. If the biggest problem I had in my life was that your mom left a sugar package on the counter, I'm doing pretty good.
But then again, it's to go to that dude. Like, what is his problem? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, the person could be listening.
Take a look internally.
Take
a look internally.
But we all have things, Chris. We have like me. It's funny because I hate I hate dishes in the sink. So every time I see them, I rinse them out and I put them in the dishwasher. I hate dishes in this. It drives me crazy. Because why would you want to have 30? No, and it's not that, if I was single, that, and I wasn't like this when I was single, that may be a deal breaker. That may have been like, oh, honey, you can't keep house.
Not coming back here.
Yeah.
She had 4 dishes in her sink.
I had somebody, I was talking to somebody, somebody was trying to get a job with, and said, let's go to lunch. They said, let's take your car. Okay. So we took the car, we came back, and I was kind of curious, like, why did we go in my car? He said, because I want to see what your car looked like. He said, because how people keep their cars pretty much how you can tell if they're organized or not. Now, do I think that's a bit excessive? Yeah.
Yes,
I do. But there's people like that. So what I'm saying is, so for him, that's a deal breaker.
I know some people whose cars look terrible and they are doing pretty well.
No, but it's not about how they look. It's not about how they look. It's about how they keep their house. How they keep how they keep things that people can't see. And do I think people read a lot into that? I do, because for some people, the car is their office. They changing it. They changing it. They
got kids. They got all types of stuff going on. Like, that's their life.
But I think when you get back to what ruins relationship, I think that's what it comes down to is and you said you got to check you first. Does that little thing or the thing I have that I think is wrong, does it outweigh the good stuff that's with this person? I got a great relationship. We got, we got a couple of things we can't work out, but is it worth it? because we know what's out there. I mean, come on, I don't care who you are. You know, and you may see, because we all see people that look good, and then after they talk for a while, it's like, I liken it to this. It's like you see your past girlfriend, you ain't seen in years, and you see her, and she look good. And you're like, man, you know, why did we break up? And then 5 minutes into the conversation, 5 minutes into the conversation, oh, that's what, that's what happened. Yeah. And a lot of monsters live in mansions, man. You know, or I was talking to a good friend of mine. We were talking about high school today. How people just remember high school differently. You know, and they have this whole different perspective of high school now that we're out of high school. Yeah. You know, and some of them, like, we were on, and this is, probably should be saying this story, but I'm gonna say this story. We go to our 40th class reunion in Punta Cana, and I decided to go on a dune buggy excursion. Your mom didn't want to go on a dune buggy excursion, so I go. Me and this other dude, we go because his wife didn't want to go. So we're there, we're on the beach, man. This girl walks up to me and says, you know, I had the biggest crush on you in high school. You know, so my first response
50 years later.
But see, it's and what my response was, I don't believe it. You know, because
you know what? That's probably true too.
You didn't say a darn thing. You look at me now and you think I'm someone. That's exactly what happened. And that's how I felt. Hey, that's what happened.
That's how I listen. I see game. I know game.
But I was like, yo,
she was throwing
in my mind.
They still doing that now.
In my mind, I felt like, okay, you never said 5 words to me in high school. You didn't even say hello to me in high school. Right. What'd you say?
They always know what you up to.
Well, see, you know what I know, because I never really. I'm thinking like, yo, come on. I'm thinking myself like, come on. And I'm saying to myself like,
if I was there, I could have
told you. I could have
told you. Excuse me, miss, you're lying.
You this story.
I know you just saw his profile last week.
So to myself, I'm like, come on.
I just showed your high school pic. This guy.
But I'm like, yo, but I'm thinking to myself like, come on, man, because you know I was not popular. I was quiet. I was kind of introverted. You didn't say 5 words to me, not even a hello. You know, if it's somebody you like, you at least say hello.
Right. Yeah, or you'd have been in the
vicinity. Yeah, you know, you would know a little more about me other than we went to the same high school.
you graduated, right?
So, but I'm just saying, and that's happened to me a couple times. And that's happened to me a couple times. You know, I always, because we were, first time you get together, everybody's telling these stories. And I'm like, nah, you know, that's not how I really went. Oh, no, I never say anything to you. I always thought you were one of the cool guys, man, because, you know, you represent, but you wouldn't even see, because you were this person in high school, you wouldn't even say boo. So I never thought about, like you said, they check out the profile. Exactly, but I'm just saying, so now, So, but that's what I meant about when you think back to what we're talking about things that ruin relationships, because people are like that. People want to see, they think they see the end product of people, and they don't. They look at somebody and they think, okay, I know how this is going to turn out. And it doesn't. Probably 80% of the time it doesn't turn out like that. Yeah. You know, it wasn't, I'm far from the dude I was in high school. You know, we laugh and joke about it. They're not even
picking off of seeing the end product. Honestly, they picking off of what they see in that moment. Yeah,
but they think they see a future. They think I can look at you, because that's why people go with the Pretty Ricky in high school.
I don't even think they think about the future.
For their future is I'm not talking about like you thinking.
It's a very limited view of the future.
But it is.
He looked cool.
But that's why you picked the best dressed. That's why you wanted the best dressed, the best dressed guy, the best dressed girl.
Yeah, honestly.
That's why you want to do it. You want to pick that person because you want people to know. I got it. I'm active. Well, I'm at. And then the same token is, you're not thinking substance. You're thinking quality.
Yeah.
You're thinking for this moment. I'm thinking it's not something sustainable. It's sustainable. Right now I got the baddest girl in high school. She may be dumbing in a bag of potato chips, but she look good on my arm. People don't think like that. It's the same thing why people spend $75,000 on a wedding and invest no money in a marriage. They'll spend 75, have all the bells and whistles.
And what's crazy, the investment in the marriage is like the physical things, like the house and like.
Well, not even getting to know who you're marrying. Getting to know their family.
They only do it on the house instead of
if they do that
in other areas. Yeah, if they do that.
Look, man, people get married for $75,000, go right back to the apartment. Back to the apartment.
In terms of like ruining, relationships, I feel like we've named so many different things. Would you also kind of say just maybe a lack of understanding of like even what a relationship is before?
Definitely. I mean, It's funny.
I think that's kind of at the root of a lot of this.
I go a little deeper.
Not even knowing what's
when
going on.
When I'm counseling couples, I'll ask them. I give them a piece of paper now. And I just started doing this a couple of years ago because I realized this is what you said a little deeper. Is write your definition of love on a piece of paper, and 80% of the time, we'll get 2 different definitions. That's the problem, because somebody writes down to death do us part, and somebody writes down. They start thinking all things that go wrong. Well, if this happened, they're not thinking the same thing. So if you don't have the same definition of love, but you both saying that word to each other, you're building on 2 different foundations. And that's the problem. If you're sitting there saying, I'm like Chris said, we can at least try to work through everything. But if you come out with a bunch of conditions, like this, I'm out of here. That's 2 different definitions of love. So one person is really trying to work at it, and one person is like, just conditioning, waiting for something to go wrong, and I'm done. And maybe to your point is because they think they can go get another relationship, whatever the situation is. But a lot of times you're the problem. That's why you're in multiple relationships, because it's you.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably more often than not, I think it's more conditional, kind of what you said. Like, as long as this person is checking these boxes and doing these things for as long as I feel like I may need it, then I'm happy. And I think what happens, we kind of touched upon, is like people change, things change, and you just have this expectation that this person's supposed to change with you.
But love, and love is about work. Love is not finding the person and they be everything you need the first day. That's not real, because right now you're in a honeymoon stage of this. What love is about, understanding that that people are going to change. Love is about understanding, man, that it's a commitment. That we're going to work through the difficulties. If we're going to be a team, we're going to be a team. Not just a team when we winning. We're going to be a team. When we losing and stuff going wrong, we figure out how to get through it. Love is realizing that some mornings you're going to wake up and look at your partner and be like, because y'all going to be frustrated, whatever it is. That's just the reality of it all.
Turn and you're going to look right back away. Like,
that's the reality of it all. Like, but it's human, it's human nature, there's a level to it, but it's human nature that sometimes you're frustrated. You're not going to agree all the time.
Yeah.
You're not. It's like I grew up in a house with brothers and sisters. We didn't agree all the time. But we didn't hate each other. We just didn't agree all the time.
It's really this. I don't know why this is just kind of this false feeling out here where it's just supposed to be kumbaya all the time. Like I see have different. Yeah, I see the post online like, if it's not like this 90s R&B love, I don't want it. Or if it's real love, it's just supposed to be just effortless and flawless. I'm like, because
the media. I did a workshop yesterday in the shelter, and we were talking about hope. How you got to pass hope on to your kids, but you got to hope for yourself. And we were talking about how sometimes hope gets derailed, because we hook up with the wrong people. And so one of the guys said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because you hook up with somebody, you get a divorce, and now you hurt, you wounded, you just stop living."
People do that.
So somebody say, "Well, yeah, but what are some reasons?" So I said, simple reasons. Some people get a divorce, because of this, and this guy starts singing. What's the song? I'll love you when your hair turn gray.
Oh, he started singing music, so child.
What? And it was funny. It was funny. But that was his reaction. So to your point, that was in his head. So to your point, that was help defining his definition of love. So to your point, social media plays a huge role.
Yeah, I just thought about the post with Jaheim when they like, this is what happened when you put that woman first, and they showed Jaheim picture what he looked now. He looks pretty rough right now. Right. Like got a baldy and but then it's just a string of pictures of just, I guess, battered men that have gone through things with women. But again, those are the stories that's out there. It kind of puts fear into a man. Like, this is what happens when you put this woman first. You could look like Jaheim. You're going to end up like Will Smith.
But they really talk about the Denzels,
But it depends.
Right, they don't talk about the people who are as successful.
But see, it's 3 things I want to say. One, it defines what do you mean put first. Because I love your mom crazy to death. But I'm not going to do it to the demise of me. Nobody should. Nobody should be in a situation where somebody else is going to start taking your life away from you. Not literally, not emotionally, not physically, not mentally, not intellectually. That should never happen. Because if that person loves you, have an ounce of you the way you love them, that wouldn't happen. They wouldn't allow it that.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, this goes back to what I said. You need to understand the true definition of love. It's emotional, but it's also a decision. And sometimes the decision is that, this is just toxic. This is just like, this is like a one-way trip. I ain't never coming back my way. It's like everything, take me further and further away. You need to understand. And the third thing about I think that people really have to take a look at is, love is not just the emotional or the decision. It's also saying that, what, I'm in this with you.
Yeah.
And and I'm in it because I want the best for you, and you should want the best for me. That's a key ingredient. So if you're fooling with somebody and it's all about you, they, you want the best for them and they not reciprocating, that's not a good relationship.
And I think that's
not a good relationship.
That is a great point, because we kind of talked about this, like the lack of selflessness.
Man, we got 10 messages.
I think
somebody trying to get this.
It's definitely you see more and more people nowadays where it's less of all right, this is what I'm doing for my partner because it makes them feel like this, or it puts them in this position to be successful, or or I'm helping them with their day.
But you can find a role like FamCom. You know what? Your mom does not get involved in the day-to-day stuff. Don't want to, not her desire. No, at all. Not at least at all. But like last night, when we had to go get this, when we were shopping and stuff like that, she was there for that. She was there for that. She'll be at the toy store on Saturday.
I hate to say it.
She does those things. Well, not let me make that clear. We were shopping and buying toys at the toy store, but she was, and I know her preference wasn't to be out on a Tuesday night, filling up toys and all this stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I do too, and it's funny because they know me. Dude, you get
in the cart.
Yeah, you get in there like So it's funny.
Living out a childhood dream.
Yeah, but it's just and you know what? And selfishly, to the sidebar, for me, it's to be able to do that and pay for it is a far cry from when you think back to the Christmases where you got to pinch pennies and figure out what you're gonna get. So they go in there,
you're doing it for other people.
Yeah, and they go in there, and until you said it, I never realized I've never had a tape that was longer than me.
Yeah, I had to take a picture.
Yeah, I never had a tape. And the lady's like, "Yeah, we gotta take a picture." She said, "I wanted to get one last year, but because we did it last year." But my point is, that's your mom's role. She don't want to be in front of people. She don't want to be in the spotlight. She's not trying to be, she likes her role. She says constantly, I don't like anybody else's kids. So when I was doing stuff for young people, she never got involved. She would come to the basketball game support, but outside of y'all, Mackenzie, she ain't out there.
But it's funny. That's actually another point too. Like, what might be a relationship ruiner is like this idea of wanting to change your partner and force them into something where that's just not going to be them. And they can honestly support you in like how mom does in the areas in which she is comfortable doing. But
social media doesn't, because social media, you see these couples working like that, and you'll think that's the way it's supposed to be. You'll see whether it's in ministry, whether it's in nonprofit, whatever. You see these couples doing stuff together, and you think that's the way it's supposed to be. And then you think something is wrong with your relationship, because I went through that stage very early because your mate is not feeling what you feel. And then you realize, my spiritual woman, when God says, she's going to be what I created her to be, not what you created her to be. They're going to do with you, and if she decides not to be what he created her to be, that's between her and God, not me.
Yeah.
And to you, this goes back to something you said earlier. So if I don't fulfill what I'm supposed to do, that's on me. I can't sit back and say, God says, these are the things I need you to do. And I didn't do it because me and my wife, man, we weren't in agreement. No, you find it. But she had to go into that role, like, the discussions you have, because she doesn't see things the way we see things. Uh-huh. I'm always a dreamer. I'm the guy that, it's funny because I do my devotion today on Be Like Mike.
But
you probably didn't read it.
Ruin people, though.
Yeah, but you probably didn't read it, but Be Like Mike. Gatorade came out with this slogan, I want to be like Mike. And I don't know if Gatorade made any money off it. Nike made a fortune off it because everybody's buying. That was like brilliant. It was brilliant. But so many people got into that whole thing to be like Mike. You buying these sneakers, you ain't never going to be like Mike. But it was a brilliant marketing ploy that they used. And that's what happens in a lot of relationships, man. You buying into stuff that you know is never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You do. It ain't never going to happen. And I'm gonna hit a nerve with you because we always talk about this. Because you always talk about what's the dude who passed away? I can't think of his name.
Mr. Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, Kevin Samuels, and he always talked about that. You know, you got a dollar store salary, but you're trying to marry somebody with 6 figures. you want them to have everything. You just want to move in and sit down at the table. But those are things that has to be discussed. Those are things that need to be talked about, because just because I don't have a table now, don't mean I'm not gonna get it. And I say this proudly. There's we got to be careful because you sleep on some good people. You sleep on some good people because the things that you think are ruining relationship. No, people just working through stuff.
Some people don't want to build; they just want right now. Like they want that instant success, but instant gratification.
It would hurt, but is that who you want to be with? Is that? And I'm not saying you particular, but I look at the greatest thing about. Well, it's a couple of greatest things, but one of the greatest things about what I've been able to accomplish is that I knew I had a ride or die. I knew she would always be honest enough to tell me that she didn't agree. She didn't see what I saw, but also, okay, take your shot. Now, don't hurt us in the process, but take your shot.
Yeah. We need more of those. Not to say it ain't too many of those out there. I got myself one. But, there's people out here who I think kind of get dragged or lean into all the stuff that they see on social media. And it's it's bleeding out here a lot into a lot of people's relationships.
But that's what made this, to me, that's why I really thought about this topic, because you're talking to people and you hear people, sometimes no matter what conversation you have with people, they go back to relationships. No matter what you're doing, some kind of way we end up talking about relationships. And so I really started thinking about it because we talked about one show where the marriage, people get married, has declined. We had another show talking about, would you marry somebody that was in a lower job or different position? So we skirted around this issue, but we never got down to the fact, if you with somebody, what are some of the reasons you leave? Because divorce is at an all-time high too.
And I think that's why it's funny that, you heard probably so many other things other than finances. I do feel like that's because these are the messages or the things that you hear rumbling wise on Instagram and social media, TikTok. Those people are talking a lot about all these other things.
Let me flip it. Well, let me ask you a question. You may not have an answer to it. Then why is a lot of times somebody make it rich and they'll leave their partner they had when they weren't rich?
What do you mean?
For instance, and I'm not going to pick on him when he's down, but Will Smith is the easy one. He had this girl that he loved. They were together, and then he makes it to Hollywood. No longer she ain't the one. And a lot of them, they do.
A lot of them?
A lot of them, they make it, and the girl they started this journey with, they're no longer with.
He said Dwayne Wade did that?
Yeah. Well, last time I said that happens quite often.
Why is that?
No, I'm just curious. Because now they have money. They didn't have money when they started this journey. It's like when they get money, all of a sudden, it's time to move on. So that's the other side of the question. Yeah.
I was about to say, is it the status?
I don't know.
Maybe. I think part of it is the status.
Or even in Dwayne Wade's movies. He was a fan of
winning championships. Since birth.
Yeah, but
you finally have a chance to get something that seemed unattainable at one point.
I think that's probably part of it.
That's
a different level.
But see, some of these guys. I look at it differently. The ride or die, gonna be there. If something happens and you lose everything, the ride or die is gonna be there. The ride or die because you already been through some tough times.
I don't know all the situations. So
but I'm just saying you already been through some tough times. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's the opposite effect because people see money. People split because of lack of money. Well, money in Hollywood seems to have the opposite effect. Girls too, because
that's what I was going to say. How do you know that these other people don't change up once you start getting?
Well, I don't know. That's why I threw it out there. But there's women who leave their husbands because their husbands are lesser known too.
Yeah, and then they probably whoa.
They get on the set and they meet another star, and all of a sudden
you don't know how to act at this party that we had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, this is totally an assumption. But I find it hard to believe that is it that or is it that people are ashamed?
Are they ashamed?
Yeah, because if I'm going to an affair with somebody and we both won Oscars, and you got an Oscar and your wife, nobody knows who she is.
That was Michelle Obama. Why did you just dap her up like that?
Are you okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Are you okay? No, I'm saying. No, what I'm saying is some people feel like maybe their mate doesn't meet the status of the crowd.
Slap Barack on the butt.
No. What I'm saying is that maybe somebody somebody feels like their mate don't meet up to the standard of the people they're hanging out with. I'm not talking about the jealousy thing. I'm saying like
I'm not saying the jealousy thing, but it's very similar.
Right.
Like maybe I'm just probably in a funnier way. Like it's an etiquette thing. Maybe it's like, all right, maybe this person don't know how to move.
I'm talking about somebody who behaves themselves. They just don't have the status of every mouse in the room.
That's why I'm saying I don't know the situations to be like. This is what it is. Like that's why.
No, that's why I threw it out there because we always people say money, but the people with money have similar problems.
You see some people, and it's like, man, you still trying to drink this Four Loko? We not at that level no more. We drink champagne now.
Yo, what's up, Gary? But what's wrong with that? But see, it's like
with a Four Loko.
I'm just saying, it's like. See, to me, I'm comfortable. No, but I'm saying, what's wrong if you keep the same standard? I'm comfortable what I do when I get. I experienced some things, but I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable driving the Jeep and driving the Acura. Yeah, I want to get something else. I probably could get something else, but I'm comfortable with it. It doesn't mean I'm lower level while I'm uncouth. I'm just comfortable with what I have.
And again, there's some people where it's like when you get to that point, it's like I'm not.
Gary, we talking
what's
about
going on?
We talking about
get up here. Or what?
We talking about the 5 top things. The 5. Well, we started late. We talking about the 5 top things that ruin a relationship. We're about to shut down now, but yeah, I don't know. I just find it interesting because those are things nobody talks about. Nobody talks about. They don't have a discussion. Nobody sits down and says, "What's a deal breaker?" Or nobody sits down and says, "Okay, maybe we can work this out."
Or even
I'm just out because it's not going away, because people say that too. I just meet somebody else.
Or the deal breakers probably sometimes shouldn't even be deal breakers. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's part of it too. It's like I don't know. Maybe that's a whole nother question too. It's like, man, what should people actually be looking for? I think some of the time the issue is people spend too much time talking about I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't do this, and this. That's what they do.
Let's close with that.
Adding the things.
Let's close with that. Let's close with that. What are some of the things? What are the top 5 things that you look for in a relationship?
That is
the goal card. What you said. Let's flip the script. What's the other side of the coin?
What's funny is probably to me like a lot of the things that I said ruin it. Probably that the opposite side of that is like, yeah, you want to have in terms of like a healthy communication, and that's being able to actually say and express things and then actively being heard or even actively listening. I think that is of top priority and like wanting to improve in those things. I know for me, like, because I do have that entrepreneurial spirit, like being supportive, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be 100% exactly involved in what I'm into, but it's just knowing that, sometimes my time and attention may go here. And like you understand that. I think that's something that's important for me, and maybe for others as well. It doesn't necessarily got to be entrepreneurial, but like understanding maybe it's a job or like you're trying to get this promotion, like being supportive in that type of way. I would also kind of say, being futuristic or visionary in a sense, and like just kind of not just living for the moment, but like putting some thought into the future, even if you don't 100% like know exactly what that's going to look like. I know for me, like at least being able to buy into it, we can talk about it and like work on collectively what our futures will look like. I think that those are definitely important things for me. And of course, I don't want to be all shallow, but I go to the gym. Physically fit.
For me, I would say just someone that isn't afraid to be themselves, and that would allow me to be myself. A visionary, someone that is very ambitious, someone that is very caring, that treats others well, how they treat their parents well. someone that looks good. I'm gonna be honest. And,
we're young.
Yeah.
What young got to do with it?
And then I would say definitely the last one is tough. Definitely have to be, just have good character. Like I like, for instance, we're doing the toy drive this weekend. Like I like doing stuff like that. Just being able to give back and show how caring they are. I feel like that's very important for what I'm looking for.
Community oriented
Yes.
base, because that being able to give, I think, means a lot. Like just that ability to put others before yourself.
I feel good the job out there raising y'all, man.
I know this is probably that moment. I almost felt like we was being tested as well.
No,
what y'all looking for out here?
No, I'm just because you made a valid point that sometimes we get so busy focusing on what's wrong that people never stop to really look at what's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I do a workshop and I ask people who want to be successful, everybody raise their hand. Who wants to be happy, raise their hand. Okay, what does success look like? Now it's just deafening silence. What does happiness look like? Now it's a definite sign. Or they just repeat some material stuff. So I get it. See, to me, first of all, man, the person has to understand who I am.
Yeah.
I'm probably to a fault, and I'm a giver. That's why I do the toy drive. That's why I do the Thanksgiving thing. I am so grateful and blessed to where I'm in life to be able to do. A lady asked me last night, did she end up giving me $20? She was like, yo, this is, she said, why you do it? You hooked up with a frat or something? No, I'm not in a frat. Because I just feel compelled to do this. And yeah, I know it's kind of ironic that they think you're in a frat, but I'm like, this is like black discrimination on black. You gotta be in a frat. Can you do a little dance with me? But nah,
we're about to get beat up.
No, but I do. I need somebody that we can have long conversations. Without it being gossip. We can sit down and talk about things. We can talk about family. We can talk about the vision. We can talk about just, and not always be on the same, because I want somebody that challenges me, because that's how you get better.
Get challenged.
Not somebody just sitting there shaking their head. I do. Look, I want somebody, man, that the things that we don't have in common, that we're willing to talk about and work at.
Communication.
Instead of just not saying, we just don't get along there, so you do your thing. Like I know a lot of people that take different vacations. That's not me.
Different vacations.
Yeah, I know a lot of couples.
Well, I don't want to go there. You go there, I'll go here.
I know a lot of couples.
Talk about it when we get back.
They vacation with his boys, and he vacation with his girl. I know a lot of couples.
That's okay,
don't do
but
that. No, but I'm just saying. But that's not me. I'm just saying for me. I want somebody that truly understands, man. What's ours is ours, not what's hers is hers and what's mine is hers.
Well, 60% understand. Here.
Yeah, I do. And lastly, man, I'm an old romantic, man. I want somebody, man. I can have them wet, sloppy kisses, man. We can hold hands, man. We can just be romantic. That's me. I'm at the stage of my life, man. That's important to me. I don't always got to be somewhere and listen to music, going crazy. I don't.
It's like to relax, sit back,
I do.
Have a glass of wine,
and I like the finer things in life. Somebody was teasing me today because he was like, "Yo, man, I remember when you stayed at the Red Roof Inn. Now you staying, you staying down there in Georgetown. You staying in Georgetown, and I ain't never going back. Yeah. I got nothing against the Red Roof. No, but I worked hard. I invested a lot in my life, and my wife and I invested a lot together to get to this point where we could enjoy the finer things in life. And we do. I look, man, I never again. I want to stay in the joint where they got a buzzer that if you pick up the food off the thing, the central goes off. Oh, you paid for it. It was nice.
I do like to say I like to laugh too.
I think that's important, man. I think those things are important. But now, in all honesty, as we close, when I was 16, that wasn't the most important. When I was 16, 17, the early 20s, those things weren't important to me. But I do thank God that your mom, my wife, has allowed me to mature and change. And it's not been too much of a stroke. It's been an adjustment, like even for you, because now, I am about church and God. That was a growth period, So you do grow and you change, man. Yeah. But I need somebody that I can have the space to come home to and just, I'm having a terrible day. Mm-hmm. This wasn't a good day, or if I got a call in the middle of the day, like, hey, I just need to hear your voice. I need that in a relationship. Yeah. Not when I call you up and I tell you I'm good. Can you call me back? We talking about tonight when you get home. I think so. That's me, and I do understand how guys feel because they do want to be heard. Mm-hmm. And I think the problem with it is women don't understand how important it is, and that should be our next show.
People, period, want to be heard.
But I think women don't understand how that's a key ingredient that your man wants to be listened to. He don't need you to color him. He's not even saying that you got to agree, but he wants to finish a sentence when he's talking about what's going on with him, and he don't need you to say, "This is what I'm hearing you saying." Yo, this is what I said. So I think those things are important. But I think this is a great topic to talk about, and this is the topic that people should talk about in relationships. What are some of the things that could pull us off track? Because and I didn't think about it till you. We just said it so much. That maybe y'all got to get off that social media.
Mm-hmm. I just come here on Wednesdays nights to watch this from 7:30 to 8:30.
Yeah,
that's the only time you need to be on here. Watch some positive news, get some positive information and opinions here. Like, I think, again, like we mentioned or said, conversation needs to be had. I'm glad that we closed and ended with talking about it, the other side. Like, what are some things that we can highlight and talk about in a positive manner of having a successful relationship? But I think that may need to be a full entire episode, Because as always, here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community through our conversation and dialogue. Definitely want y'all to continue to interact with us, whether that's sending us messages. We couldn't necessarily read them all. For those of you that are on Podbean, unfortunately, we couldn't see them messages. We see them rolling in, just can't read them. But definitely continue to get those to us. Same thing on Instagram Live, YouTube, Facebook. Send us messages. We like to read and react live. But after the show, if you're watching, drop a comment, drop a like, drop a share. Thank you guys.
Hey. Yeah. Check us out. We're going to be at 3401 Reservoir Drive Saturday morning at FamCom Toy. We're giving away. Well, let me say this: we're looking for volunteers and donations. Let me rephrase that, because we already have 115 kids registered.
Yep.
We already have 50 families registered, so we're at capacity. But we're giving away free coats and toys to the families we have. So we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for donations. We're going to be at 3401 Reservoir Drive, the Discovery Center, across the Smith Playground, and from down the way. We'll be there again from 9 to 2 on Saturday, December 16th. So again, if you're not doing anything and you want to come down and check us out, because all three of us will be there, above average black men, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time.
Come check us out.
Yep, come check us out, man. Hang in there, man. Yeah, we can use support, man, and show us some love. We get to listen to a lot of you, but we don't get to see a lot of you. It would be nice to come down and say, hey, I came down and hang out with above average black men. So we will see. Devin, do your thing.
Like, follow, subscribe, share, comment. Emphasis on the share. Definitely want to
need more.
Want to spread this positive content out there.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a good night. See you later. This is the first time we talk all the way through the song. Could you imagine that? Yeah.